Why, I don't know, but it hasn't gone live.
Oh, bugger, we live now.
Chatting for frigging 30 minutes. No, 28 minutes. That's right. I just had a couple of messages sent to me saying that is there a delay? Even though
No.
I don't understand where we got all these comments from. If anyway, I most apologise, everybody. For some reason, it hadn't gone live, even though I thought it had gone live. So,
shall start again.
No, we'll carry on. We'll carry on.
Just call my wife. Just call my wife. Tell her that I'm gonna be home late. Sean didn't send it live, darling. Sean didn't send it live. Sorry.
So
you leave the dinner in the microwave.
Yes. I'm not even going to bother doing the introduction, guys. Sorry about that. I wonder why I couldn't see any blooming people up on the corner here who was watching. So obviously a lot of people just frigging turned off. So yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, apologies to you, Chris. I didn't even notice it hadn't gone live. So I got to thank you, Steve and Harvey, for saying what's going on there. Anyway,
so what do we do? Do we go through them again, or will it be on YouTube later on, or what do you want me to
do? Unfortunately, I think what we'll do, we'll carry on what we're doing, and if we got time, we go back to the beginning of the game. Is that all right, Rick? I know you're a busy man. I don't want to hold you up, but because I was looking at some of the comments there, something about I'm going to miss Love Island, and I was thinking, what's that about? And I could see what's going on now. It's because they couldn't see us. Anyway.
Oh, never mind.
We're number 5 it is.
Do we just do? Shall I do Kevin's question quickly?
Yeah,
then?
go on.
I think we're halfway through it.
Number 4.
Then we've got the first 3 that we're missing. Right. So Kevin's question. So I'll read it out quickly. Kev, so my question is a bit specific to, but maybe of use to someone with a cherished vehicle. When we're in the EU, if you're moving to Spain and bringing a car, that was allowed under chattels free of importation taxes if you had owned it for a certain period of time in the UK. Now we're outside the EU. Has this changed? Right, quickly, I'll tell you. No, it hasn't changed, but there's more paperwork involved. So you have to, any vehicle would have to come in from the UK, would have to go through the customs and excise process to get a document called a DUA. The DUA proves to Traffico when you come to register it here that it is cleared customs, and you have to prove 2 things: where you've been for the last 12 months and the fact that you've taken residency in Spain. So you can bring it in tax-free, but there's quite a lot of paperwork to put together to do so. I would definitely recommend you use an import agent to do that. Don't do it yourself. So that's number 4. Guy, do you want to carry on with number 5?
Yeah, we'll go on number 5. So number 5, so this is from Kev as well anyway. A more general question for Chris would be, how do they calculate all important? Now, I don't know what this is. IPREM? What's that? Do you know what that is? Eprim?
Yeah, so Eprim is, it's basic. Eprim is how they calculate in Spain. They use Eprim as a base figure to calculate things like benefits and pensions payments. It's also used, it's famous in non-lucrative visa terms because it's used to calculate the required financials for a visa application. Now, how it's every year during the budget, when they publish the budget, they publish whether they're going to, what the price of the Eprim, and normally, as you'd imagine, every year it either stays the same or it goes up. Now, there was a long period from around 2011, 2010, I think it was, that it stayed all the way up to 2017, about 7 years where it stayed the same. And then the last 4 or 5 years, it's crept up slightly, but last year it took a big jump of 30 euros on the monthly amount. Now, I would imagine that this year, due to inflation, that is going to go up again. So yeah, I don't know the exact algorithm they use, and I think sometimes it's a bit political rather than an exact calculation, because it depends on what government's in to whether they agree with putting it up or not. But I definitely imagine with our current government as well, and with the inflation, I reckon that next year that's going to probably go up by another 30 euros. But yeah, that's just, I think so. Yeah. So yeah, that's answered that.
Right. Okay, that's good. Right. Okay, so was that all answered of Kevin's question there? Because I think
it says, oh, sorry, no. So it said, you also said, we now need during the first renewal is for 2 years, so 800%. Yeah, we discussed that in a non-live
right.
comment. So I'll get back to that at the end. But yeah, if the second year is for 2 years, you'll need double Eprim. Yeah, when we get back to the other questions, I'll explain that again.
Right. Okay. Sure, I'm having the right palaver tonight. Number 6 by Craig, and he's on. Hi, Sean. On a recent visit, I was told we would need private health insurance for 5 years until we reached permanent resident status. Is this correct?
I think what Sean's referring to there is, it reads like, do you have to take out a policy for 5 years, which you can't. They get renewed annually. But he's correct in what he's saying, that you have to maintain private healthcare insurance, unless you have access to state healthcare. So the way you would get access to state healthcare is either with an S1, or in some circumstances after a year, you may be able to apply for the Convenio Especial. But if you're working on a private healthcare basis to maintain your residency, then yes, you do. You can't just get residency, then cancel your insurance. You have to maintain it.
Right. Thought I'd better put that up. Okay, so we're going on to number 7, Malcolm. If you want to stay more than 90 days in the year, but not reside permanently, say 6 months of the year over summer, what's the best way to achieve this? You don't really deal with that, do you, really, Chris?
Well, you can't. If you've got a British passport, you can't. So
No,
the best way would the best way would be to spend €500,000 on a property and get a golden visa.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go over the 90 days because you've got a good chance of either being banned from the EU or heavily fined. But I know there are apps out there now that you can download, guys, and you can work out, because some people just like come over for a month, go back to the UK, but you got to stick to the 90-day thing. There's no way around it. Even trying to make out that you've missed the flight, they've got you can't miss it.
Yeah, there's no loopholes to spend more than 90 days, other than, well, there isn't any, but if you've got a golden visa, you could work that flexibly, but you couldn't even do that with a non-lucrative visa. So yeah, never mind.
Okay, so I've got number 8 here by Johnny Boy. He's got a few questions, and he's asking, can I have shipped and re-registered at other ports in Spain apart from Malaga? Hello? I missed something there. Have you got that question there, Chris?
Yeah, it says, can I have the shipped and registered at other ports in Spain apart from Malaga? Where is Upsticks based? So yeah, we're based in Malaga. That's our HQ is in Malaga. But yeah, you can ship a vehicle to any port, and we can do port clearances along with, and we work alongside an independent import agent. I'll tell you. So what their job is, an import agent, is very much like what we know as a gestor, in Spain, but for customs and excise. So everybody, even big companies, private individuals, use an import agent to do, shall we say, the paperwork with the customs and excise at a port. And a lot of the time, you don't actually even have to take the car to them because it's an online exercise. So the Mariano, our import agent, it depending on where the vehicles and goods are arriving, he deals with them remotely and processes the paperwork. So yeah, you can bring it into any port. That's not a problem.
Right. Number 9 is can I ship a car in advance of our arrival to minimise time of temporary car rental?
Yes, you can. The only thing is, I mean, it really depends on your timeline, and a lot of that depends on on what visa you're getting, on what residency status you have. So you can ship a vehicle, but if the vehicle needs to have a temporary Spanish registration, you would need to have a DUA document. To get a DUA, you have to be here to prove to waive the tax. Yeah. So that's very much a timeline question. Yeah, evidently you can ship a car if you bring a car from the EU. That's not a problem. But if you're not going to have a visa in place, it's going to be difficult and you need to put that vehicle on temporary plates to drive it here in Spain. It could be difficult to get the timings correct.
And the last one of that question was, what paperwork do I need to supply Upsticks in order to complete registration, coming on a non-lucrative and permanent residency, TIE, Padron, etc.?
Oh, that's quite a long question.
Isn't it?
We would need to know more about the situation,
So
it's
really, it's better that he contacts you then, Chris, so you can.
Yeah. So I mean, it's coming and says, what paper do I need to supply in order to complete registration? Coming NLV. Right. Okay. So, for example, if I think it reads as whoever wrote this is coming already on an NLV, so they've got their NLV and they're coming here to Spain. They need to register on their TIE card. If that's the case, then evidently they need their NLV, their passport, and we would book them an appointment at their local police station where they need to register, and we do the application forms. They would have to provide us with photos, and then the Padron very much just depends on what your accommodation is going to be and where you declared that you're going to be living when you did the initial application. So in some circumstances, to register a TIE, an NLV to get your TIE, you don't need a Padron. Okay, we always advise it's the best idea, but I can say, like here in Malaga, for example, we don't need to use one. In Granada, for example, if your registration with the police is already in that province and you go with a different address, you don't need a Padron, but they'll change it there and then. When other provinces you do need a Padron. So we sort of have to assess the Padron situation on an individual case basis.
Right. I think, Chris, we're on time now. I think what we'll do, we're going to go right back to the beginning, even to me introducing you, and I'll do my lobster thing, but I'll keep you there, so don't go away. So what I'm just gonna. So guys, obviously tonight it went a bit pants. That's all I can say. I forgot to press the live. I've never done that before. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to the beginning because obviously none of you watched it. So I'm going to keep Chris there because obviously I know he's a busy man. So I've got a special guest tonight. There he is, Chris. Anyway, I want to thank my promoters first, Lobster. I'm going to start all this again because I said all this for nothing, obviously, tonight. So good deal by Lobster. Now, as my old man said, if I don't ask, I don't get. Now, with the Lobster thing for this month only, if I invite friends to Lobster, I've got a good chance of winning a free iPhone 13. So any of you guys out there who wants to join Lobster, just contact me first and I'll refer you to Lobster. And Currencies Direct, here it is, the money company. Now they're doing, funny enough, they're doing a special deal this month. They're doing a free draw. And if I refer two of you lot out there, because I know you're lovely people, and the clients go through the partner portal. What, I don't know what that is, but if you're applying for a Currencies Direct, then you probably know what that is. They're doing a prize this month, and I could win a 55-inch Samsung tally, which will look lovely on my wall. But I've got to thank people that contributed to the coffee fund this month, which was Rob, top man, and Dean. And Dean left a message for all the great content on Expat Mazaron. So thank you, Rob and Dean. Most appreciate that. The Expat in Mazaron merchandise. Now, unfortunately, guys, I haven't got my T-shirt, but you just got to imagine I've got my Expat Mazaron T-shirt on, and not forgetting the merchandise that you can get if you want to. There is a link below in the video. Information sites. Obviously, I'm just an ordinary person. Obviously, Chris is a professional, but it's always worth checking out some sites on the internet, which is Citizens Advice Spain. You can ask them questions, and also you can download PDFs for certain things. The government, the UK site's got 3 things worth looking at, which is living in Spain, healthcare, which is another important thing, and obviously check your passport. Who checks the passports? The border people do, so make sure your passport's up to date. So check out the gov sites for that. Obviously, another one is the Spanish Embassy if you're coming from the UK, or embassies wherever you're coming from, be it Canada or the US. And not forgetting us people here in Spain, checking out the British Embassy. And at the moment, we all know those who are having problems with trying to exchange their UK driving licenses. An ongoing weekly case at the moment. I think he's got it on the loop at the moment. He's saying the same thing as he's been saying for the past couple of weeks. And I know some of my friends have given up now, and they've gone into taking the Spanish driving test. And if he's watching tonight, Graham, top man, he passed his Spanish driving test. He failed once on the the online theory. That's it. Well, Chris, thanks for helping me out there. Yeah, he failed on the theory test only because they gave him the wrong questions. So anyway, he sorted it out. He's passed his driving test, so he's fully qualified now. But hopefully, maybe this week or next week, the embassy will come up with some new information on that. For guys that are thinking about moving to Campusol or actually living on Campusol, a good internet site worth checking out is the CampusolFactCrusader.com. On there is proper information. Obviously, on Facebook groups, there's lots of rumors, but if you check out that site. Next week, I'll be speaking to Andrew to Spain. Now, Andrew is a bit like me, really. He gives you he gives you more information than what I do. So he's on next week. I'll make sure I'll write it down that I will go live 9:30 and not 5 to 10 tonight. So big apologies. I won't bother with the intro video because we're here now. So Chris, we'll go back to number 1 question. Because obviously it was just me and you listening to it,
go on.
So, number 1 question from Speed King, and he asked Lobster that you can go self-employed after 1 year of living there on a non-lucrative visa. Also, the second year doesn't require double money in the bank. You just need to prove that you still have the first year's money. Is that correct?
I've got to remember what I said the first time now, Sean.
I think you said...
Anyway, what I said was, when you have a residency and your residency ends, obviously, or expires, you can take residency legally on any format that you qualify. So, yeah, in theory, at the end of an unlucrative visa, if you qualify to go self-employed or get a lucrative visa as such, then you can do so. I'd say it's not that easy to do that. But for example, we've had cases of people who have switch to non-lucrative visa for an EU platform. For example, people who came in with a British passport while waiting for an Irish passport, the Irish passport's turned up during the first year of their residency under non-lucrative visa, and when the residency is expired, they've then registered as an Irish citizen. That obviously raised a few eyebrows at the local police station because they haven't seen that situation before, and there's a lot of shrugging going on, but it is possible. So yeah, you can, after, if you qualify, for example, as you said, Sean, before as well, for a golden visa, if you wanted to switch it for a golden visa, evidently you could switch platforms. If you, as long as you legally qualify, it's fine, you can do. As for the money, now there was some information floating around, mainly directed at the Almeria province, that you only needed 1 year's money for the renewal. Now, I can say we've spoken to both Alicante and Malaga, and they said it's definitely 2 years that you need. Obviously, every immigration officer has his own interpretation of the rules. So the problem is, and we always have this problem when we're doing cases, if one person gets away with one thing once, or one immigration officer says one thing once, it doesn't mean it's universal for everybody. Us as a company, we always advise you need 2 years, because I believe it's the responsible thing to do. It's, if people are, and that's the money you're going to need anyway. There is sometimes confusion between what is passive annual recurring income to savings. So definitely, if you're going to renew a non-lucrative visa on a basis of savings, then I would say it's definitely a good idea. You need 2 years, definitely. If it's passive annual income, like a pension, then it's very hard to. It's based on an annual income, isn't it? Your P60 will show you what you've got for a year. So that is recurring income. So you may only have to prove what you're getting on an annual recurring basis. That may be why some people think you only need a year, but for savings, definitely it's 2.
Yeah. I mean, I did hear from somebody a couple of weeks ago that they contacted a Spanish solicitor who said he could do it a lot easier or cheaper applying for the non-lucrative visa. But I'm right in thinking you still got to go through the process back in the country where you're applying for.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, when for renewal, you would do the renewal from Spain, whichever way you're going to be doing your renewal.
Oh, yeah, renewal, yeah. But I mean, yeah. If you're applying for it for the first time,
it's got to be
you've got to do it in the country. Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd imagine there's a few scrupulous people out there that will try that one on people. Okay, number 2 by Ben, and we got Yogi in the house. I bet he was thinking, what's going on tonight?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is. I wanted to move to Spain from the UK and wanted to buy a house in Spain. Would I apply for the residency first or put an offer in on a property first? Assuming I'd been, and obviously if you like the property. Thanks.
I really get it because I really liked my answer before on this one. So that.
Yeah. Can you remember it? What you did last?
I can't remember that. What did I say? I went for about 10 different scenarios, didn't I? It's getting late now. No, so again, basically, the buying a property. Okay, you can buy a property as a non-resident or as a resident. So as long as you've got an NIE number, it doesn't a certificate and NIE number. It doesn't matter whether you're a non-resident or a resident when it comes down to buying a property. To get a non-lucrative visa, you don't have to have a property in Spain. In some circumstances, having a property in Spain, if you're, for example, coming in on an EU residency and coming to Malaga, for example, in Malaga, you can use a property nota simply as proof of financial stability. So it actually would gain you residency here, having a property. In other provinces, you can't. So yeah, it really depends on what your plans are, but you don't, on a visa platform, you don't have to have a property in place, obviously first, but if you already own a property, it's a very good idea to take proof of the ownership of the property, because although they don't have a figure, they attach to that ownership. They do look at it as a global thing when you're presenting your financials. So it's always a good idea. When we spoke to London Consulate, for example, they said that if you have got a property, always bring it along, because it does prove that you've got, and if on the notice simply it proves you won't have a mortgage on it, for example, and it does prove that you're going to be you're going to have somewhere to live. So it's always a good idea to add that to an application if you've got it.
Yeah, I mean, I
think my other answer was a lot better. Now you have to go back and look what I said.
That's it. I remember it's come back to me now. It's come back to me now. I think one of the hardest things here in Spain is each province is the same, but they deal with things slightly different. It's like I've heard in some areas that when you go down to the town hall, they even put on a free translator. We don't get that in the Murcia region. We don't get no help at all, really, other than we have to pay for a translator, or you use your Google translator on your phone, and they do things differently in each region. So I suppose that there's another sense about you guys coming over to Spain. Once you pick your region, check out the system, innit? Do you think that's a good idea, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's there's always, so what we kind of do, we deal with people all over, all the way from Barcelona to the Canaries, and you'll find there's always a core bit of information that you need for anything, like a padron certificate, to buy a property, for your visa application, to register a visa. But there's always that core information, and then variations to the theme depending on where you're going. I think we spoke about that in the non-recorded bit, where some places you can get away with not having a padron to register for your TIE card. Some places you absolutely have to have a padron. So and that it actually varies from town to town. Not only province to province. I mean, we have here in Malaga, we have a lot of police stations. We've got Vélez, Malaga, Benalmádena, that's 3, Figueroa 4, Marbella 5, Estepona 6 places where people can register. And I tell you what, there's variations to the theme in each one. Different ways to go, what they expect when you even walk in the door. So, it's having that core information and then the local knowledge, obviously.
So number. Hang on a minute. Well, I'll just blah 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 blah. Okay. Number 3, which is by Neil. I have an NIE number. I bought a property in Spain, both for 20 years. Also, I've paid all the taxes due. Do I require a non-lucrative visa? Thanks for your ongoing information. Much appreciated.
Obviously, if you're having a property in Spain doesn't qualify you immediately just to live here and have residency. You'd have to declare residency to live here, and if he's asking for a non-lucrative visa, I assume he's got a British passport and he's retiring. So yeah.
Right. And then the complicated one, I think, number 4 by Kev. My question is a bit specific, but may be of use to someone with a cherished vehicle. When we were in the EU, if you were moving to Spain and bringing a car that was allowed under chattels, free of importation taxes, if you had owned it for a certain period of time in the UK, now we're out, obviously.
I reckon I answered this one.
You did. This is before we didn't go live.
Oh right, sorry, I thought I answered that one on live. Yeah, you can. I think that's the first one I did on the live. I've lost now.
You can. You sure?
But you can.
Oh, you can.
Okay. You can. In short,
I can. Believe it or not, we got 9 minutes left, and I've actually got a question there, and I'm surprised Yogi hasn't brought one up unless I missed it. And this is from Paul. Hi both. How much time I allowed out of Spain during the 5 years on the non-lucrative visa?
You intend to stay the 5 years and then renew for a permanent residency. You can only spend 10 months outside of Spain, which averages to say 2 months a year. At any one time, you can spend up to 6 months out, but that obviously eats into your total amount.
Right. So does that mean long as so you can't stay out of Spain more than 6 months at a time then? Is that right?
No, and in the first 5 years, more than 10.
Oh, right. So in the first 5 years, it's only 10 months then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was quick. That was a quick answer, wasn't it? So we've got 8 minutes left.
You got any more questions?
I've got some messages there. Oh no. Any more questions? Yogi, come on, you always got some question. Hey, hang on. I did see a question from Rob back here, and he said, "How much do they charge for ITV?" he's about the
who's they? What ITV? Now it's depending on where you are, a normal ITV for a normal Spanish vehicle could be anything from 30 to 50 euros at the ITV station. And if you're registering a vehicle, then the ITV charge is around 150 euros for the ITV station, shall we say. If he's asking how much we charge for an ITV, we charge for the whole, if we're doing a vehicle registration, obviously it depends on which vehicle it is and where it is to how much the cost is, basically.
Right. Because I mean, I had a friend a couple months ago. He was a bit worried about going down to the ITV centre, and I said, "No, here in Spain, they're ever so friendly, and it's pretty easy. You can either go in on the actual, I call like a conveyor belt. It's actually go in, and you sit in your car, and you can go through the test, or you can actually sit down. And ours, you get a free cup of coffee. You pay your fee, whatever it is." And it takes probably about 10, 15 minutes. And well, in here, I mean, it might differ from other provinces, but here, if they find something that's not too, like, say, for instance, the mirror is damaged or something, they just refer it. So on your next ITV test, it's got to be fixed. Obviously, if it's a bald tire and things like that, it will fail. But some minor they just say that a bit more, well, not in this part anyway. I can't say obviously down in your way, Chris, but in this area that they're pretty sort of fair.
Your way in Murcia, I think, is stricter in Andalusia, I think, than Murcia.
Is it? All right. I mean, I know.
I'd say I've heard good things about Murcia.
Right. I know when I first come here to Spain and we did our first ITV test, the guy shouted at me. Obviously, this is when they didn't have so many ITV centres about. I think when I come here in 2016, they were pretty sparse, and we had to travel a distance. And there was a huge queue going through, and the guy was talking to me in Spanish, so I didn't understand him, and he was on about putting my foot on the throttle, and he said to me, "If you live in there, you got to learn Spanish." But he said it quite aggressively. But I think, I mean, it was true. It was true, and it was right to do that. But that was my first lesson about learning Spanish. Right, I think we've got one more question here, Chris. Hi, Sean. I'm allowed to move and buy in Spain. My wife is a European citizen, and I'm hoping, but this year, do I need to apply for residency?
Yes, over to this year, yeah. Yes, yeah, but you can apply if your wife is a European citizen and she applies for residency here in Spain, you can then apply for residency off the back of her status.
So he can piggyback on her, on her EU Yeah, I thought that.
And you can apply within Spain. So, say for example, Sean's got a British passport. He can come in on a tourist visa, for example, and his wife within the first 90 days can get her residency, and then he can apply for his. His application would have to be approved, but as long as he's got the application in, he can stay while he waits for the approval.
Right. Okay. Why can't I get that one up? Okay. Right. So it's coming. Oh, hang on. It's like me. I think the internet must have gone a bit slow. So yeah. So obviously he knows you then, Chris.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Paul. I get locked in the office, so I'm locked in the office now.
Not that strict, are they? Lock you in the office.
So yeah, but I did. But thanks for using us, Paul. It was he met Thomas, our service representative, and yeah, it was it's good. I unfortunately I used to. I'll be honest with you, Sean. I loved being on the ground. You know, getting in with a police station, and I always loved the thriller, the chase of making sure you get people's paperwork done. But now I'm locked behind the desk now, and luckily I've got people. Very, very, very good colleagues who do what I used to do out on the street. Yeah, sadly, I have to sit here with the fridge, the aircon. It's a nightmare.
Right, so I think we're coming up to past now. I'm sorry, everybody, that it was a complete cock up at the beginning. My fault only. Not pressing the button at the top there saying going live. And Paul Chris was speaking for 20 minutes to a nothing audience. But anyway, we got there. We got through the 10 questions and we answered a couple extra questions. And I've got to thank you, Chris, for coming on tonight. And no doubt you'll be coming back again soon.
Yes, yeah, I'll pop up if people aren't bored of me.
Anyway, so I want to thank everybody for popping in tonight. Sorry, guys, it didn't go completely to plan, but as always, I hope you enjoyed the show. And I'm going to put on. It's not. The internet has gone like